Can everyone see the screen? Hi. So, CV ZI. Just let me. Are you ready? Recording. Okay. That means I will begin for the four of you here. Comfy. Okay. I'll begin for the four of you. So, last webinar we went over prefetch. We went over show recent. We went over jump lists. We went over understanding user behavior using those artifacts. So now that we understand user behavior, we're going to start actually looking at how to find cheats based off that behavior. So this is Search Everything and System Informer. So before starting any PC check, make sure you have these two important softwares installed on the user's device. As Search Everything is a tool you'll be having to work with in almost every case. You will always have to work with this unless you're like a masochist and you want to find things manually. So every time, even if the user already has Search Everything installed, let's go back. Even if the user already has Search Everything installed, you're always going to reinstall it because they can tamper with it, they can mess with it, and that's just annoying. And if you reinstall it, you don't gotta worry about all that. Next, System Informer. Always reinstall this too for the same exact reasons. You're gonna download both of them. Okay. Let me do that. So this is Search Everything. I'm gonna start there. Normally you should run the actual application. I just ran the portable because I'm gonna delete it after. So Search Everything is basically an OP version of your file explorer. So like, if I want to just find the file, so the System Informer thing I just downloaded is gonna bring me directly to that. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be efficient. It's gonna be easy. Okay, it's important you know how to use this tool. Because there's a lot of features in it that a lot of people don't know about. So this tool should always be used in conjunction with another tool. You should never just sit here searching for things pointlessly because you're not going to get anywhere. So there's lots of ways you can extract information from this tool. So the first way is by going to your filters. Oh, not this filters. Oops. Advanced search. No, you didn't miss basically anything. Advanced search. So the advanced search gives you a lot of filters you can play around with. For example, the attributes we discussed last time. This is an easier way of seeing those attributes because you can see, you can filter for these attributes. So the hidden and read only. So you press OK. So now this comes up here, but you can still add more to this. So you can do C/Windows/System32/ or you can filter for directories within here. So if we get the actual Windows prefetch folder, so by going here, so it's C/Windows/prefetch. We can now see there are 0 objects in the Windows prefetch folder that contain these attributes. So that should get you a pretty good idea on how powerful this tool is, because if you remember before, we had to type out a whole ass command that I could not be bothered to remember. That's why we do it this way. All right. Other features of WinPrefetch View is you can match a word or phrase within a file. That's a bit more advanced. Located in, we just did that. You can filter for paths. Size is cool. So you want to filter files on the PC that are 1 megabyte to, let's say, 25. That's going to be most common cheat file size, 1 to 25 megabytes. We're going to keep scrolling down. Extension All right, yeah, so it's extension. So we're going to go to the extension exe, because we only care about exe files for this. So now what we have is we have 679 objects right here that are exes, and their size is between 1 megabyte to 25 megabytes. Any questions? Any questions? That means you type a yes or a no in the chat. Okay. So now what you're going to do is you can export this as a text file. So you can press File, you can press Export. Let's go to our Downloads folder. You can click here. You can export as a text file. So we can name it, let's call this our executables. Or actually, for the sake of actually doing something useful, we're going to call this P for paths. You'll see why in a second. So I'm going to save that here. Now I'm going to open this P file. Let's see. I'm going to open this P file. All right. So this P file right here contains so many exes. Wow. Now you might think, what is the point? So we have tools such as Spoken's path parser, which are made to check these text files. So go ahead and download that. It's in the main Red Lotus Discord. So let me bring up my downloads folder here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the command prompt. Run this as administrator. I'm going to change my directory to the download. So I think that's c/window. Windows/ let me find my actually, okay, I'll show you guys a hack. This is normally what I do. So you go properties, you go security, and then you go you just copy this right here, and it gives you everything you need. So you just cd and then copy that there. Oh, that added the space, so cd. Sorry, I'm on a new keyboard, so what? Why did that not work? Users/user/downloads. Oh, that's why. That's why. Because I was trying to change directory. Yeah. No. All right. So now that we're working within this directory, I'm gonna pull up this directory within search everything to reduce clutter. So c/users/user/downloads. All right. So then this is everything in my downloads directory. So if you know anything about path parser, I think it's we're gonna read from the documentation. I know how to use it, but I'm gonna explain. So this retrieves data about file paths found in .txt files. So it parses the paths from .txt. For example, a line like this would be parsed into something like that, and then it will perform checks on it. It checks for signatures. It checks for if the file is deleted. It checks specific digital signatures that are common in Slinky and like Vape and other cheats. This applies to 5M too, for those of you that are 5M people. It reports if a file is signed or not. So, digital signatures are a way that people who produce software kind of brand their files so that you know you're downloading a legitimate file because it would be signed by that company. Okay. Place, this is how you use it. So we already did this. So we placed our target paths in one or more of these files, either in our C directory. In our case, we put it in our downloads and we named it P. And then these are the acceptable names to these are the acceptable names in order to get this to work. You can put search results space .text, paths.txt, or p.text. P.text, I just use it. It's the fastest. Run the compiled executable. You run it in command. That's why we set up this. So all you have to do, you just type paths parser, and you can just go like this. So it's going to ask you a question. Do you want to scan for my Yara rules? I would always just press yes, because it's, you want to scan for your own Yara rules. We don't have Yara rules. If you have your own, go ahead and use them. But in our case, we don't. Do you want to scan for replaces? In my opinion, this slows it down by a lot. And the replaces are never actually accurate. And I'm intelligent enough to find my own replaces. So I'm going to put no. Do you want to scan for DLLs only? Actually, someone answer that. Do we want to scan for DLLs only? Someone answer that for me. Help me out. Yeah, no. Because we filtered for EXEs. So we don't want to scan for DLLs only. All right. Boom. Now we have all this. Okay. So we can scroll up because we want to start at the top because that makes the most logical sense. MZ is the, I believe, yeah. The not MZ flag doesn't really mean anything. It just means it's like, let's scroll up a little bit faster. Okay. So now that we're at the top, we can use a feature called Control F, and we can do it in the direction of down. That way, because we scrolled up, we want to go down. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in not signed. Find next. Okay, we have our first unsigned file. It seems to be this Microsoft Start Feed Provider.exe. I know this is legit because I've SS'd people thousands of times, but what you're going to do, every single one of these, no matter what, literally no matter what, is you're going to type Microsoft Start, because it's the file name. Okay, so I see it came up. So now that I see this here, there is no prefetch file here, so I'm not even going to bother. Gone. Find next. CGO. C. So I'm going to type cgo.exe. What if you deleted the prefetch? Then that would show at the beginning of our screen share. Because that's what we went over last time, is if they deleted a prefetch. Yes. Okay. cgo.exe, there's no prefetch. So we're going to move on. All right, find next. Okay. See right here, we got these Yara rules. So this generic rule A, generic rule G3, generic rule G4. I do not know anything about these detections because Spoken made them and I didn't really ask him about them. But they are another indicator that that file is a cheat. It does not confirm it's a cheat. You must manually confirm. Always manually confirm. But this gives me, I should do some extra dual diligence. Yara is not Echo. No, it's Yara is not Echo. I should ban you for saying that. Yeah, Yara. Yara is a. So. Is a pattern matching Swiss knife for malware research analysis. So basically, you make a rule like this. You explain the rule. You assign a threat level. Whatever. And then you import strings that are found within this file. And then the program will match the strings to any file it finds and flags it. That's all it is. Okay. Yeah, there's some SS tools allow you to import your own Yara rules, but Yara is an actual real thing. So it's not from fucking Echo. So Minty. So this flagged. So this is suspicious. We need to be on our toes here. How do I spell that? Sorry, I can't see. All right, Minty. .exe. And you can filter by .exe. Reason being is because all prefetch files are going to be .exe and then .pf. So, and if you don't want to make sure, you can just do minty dot, and then that'll show your prefetch file. Okay, there's no prefetch file here. This file has an icon. It's in program files under Git. Does not look suspicious to me, so it's probably just a false flag. All right. You guys understand, or do I need to keep going through all the unsigned files? Yes, you understand, or yes, I need to keep going? Jav, what do you not understand? Why do I need to go through all of them? Bro, you got. Hold on. Some people need roles. Let me give some people some roles. All right. Join up. Okay, sorry. I had to give some people some roles. You need to manually check. Yes, right now. I'm saying because there's two people that just joined. So basically, all we're going over is we exported a list of executables from Search Everything using a file, using extension exe size 1 megabyte to 25 megabytes. I'm not SS. This is my PC. Shut up. Okay. So that is what we did. We exported it and then we ran Paths Explorer by Spoken or Paths Parser. And now I'm explaining how to use it for those that. So I'll go through a few more so everyone understands. All right. So we're going to find our next unsigned file. That's going to be this one right here. You can copy by closing this menu. So I'm going to give that one a copy. Don't press Control C more than once or it will close your terminal. Control C, that's how you copy. All right, this doesn't have a prefetch file. It doesn't have an icon, and the path file seems somewhat legitimate. So I'm gonna keep this as a mental note as I proceed on my screen share. All right, I'm gonna go back, Control F, not signed. So because I close it, it's gonna go up again. So that's why normally you should just type it. Probably should have mentioned that. All right, Solitaire. This is a legit file, but you see, it has these generic A flag and generic F flag. So we'll just go ahead and check it. Maybe the user replaced it. We never know. Okay. Yes. Comfy's recording. Okay. If you want to record on your own, that's good too. Sometimes people's recordings bug and shit. Okay. So Solitaire. There's no prefetch file, so I don't have any reasonable suspicion to believe that this file was ran and could have been used as a cheat. So I'm going to move on because you want to preserve time. A ranked Bedwars has the maximum screen share limit of an hour. So if you have an hour limit, you want to use as little time as possible on things that don't matter. Hour and 15, yeah, same shit. It's supposed to be an hour of screen sharing and then 15 minutes of cleaning up. So you're not supposed to take more than an hour. If you take more than an hour, you're just dumb. Okay. So I want you guys to on how I'm going to inspect the spot right here. No, because if you actually did an hour worth of screen sharing, you probably have a lot of stuff to delete. All right. Someone tell me this unis 000.exe is suspicious. How do I find it? I need help. Someone help me. What do I do? Someone help me. Come on. All right, yeah, so we're going to go search everything. I believe there's going to be a lot of these files, or it might not even show up. Oh, what did I press? Oh. Spelled it wrong. Yeah, there's a lot of these files, so I want the one from Office install because it demonstrates the. So this is the one I'm looking at. Yeah. The strings are documented here. I know that the strings are the strings are documented here. I just don't use them ever. But for you new guys, it's important that you understand them, I guess. So I'll put them up here for y'all. Okay, those are the strings. Okay, should help you out. Okay. So, I understand this is a legit file, but someone help me on if there's something suspicious about it. Like, someone help me. What do I do next? How will I know if I should bother with this file? No. The prefetch. So you see it has a prefetch, right? Yeah, so you could put it in virus total, but why would I put it in virus total if there's not a prefetch? So there's this prefetch right here, but I know this prefetch doesn't correlate here. So because there's not a prefetch correlating to this file, I don't do anything. Does this all make sense? So you're going to continue clicking through all these, preferably faster than I am. So then you're getting through all this because there's a lot of files that you're going to have here. See, we didn't get through like any of them. Like, we didn't get through anything. All right. Oh, it's not Linux. It doesn't work like that. Okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we understand how to use search everything alone. So we're going to start understanding how to use search everything with an additional tool. I'll install this. This is System Informer. This tool is not complicated. Don't make it complicated. It looks scary, but it really isn't. Run it as administrator every single time. Click options. Scroll. What the fuck happened to the options? Enable kernel driver mode. Start it. No, don't turn your refresh off. I don't know. If you do that, you need to be euthanized. Because you miss out on important data, because System Informer as a whole takes about 10 minutes to capture data. So by turning the refresh off, I've now missed out. It's the same shit, Jav. I'm missing out on data. So see, it's not updating. The processes aren't updating. So that's why I keep it off. After 10 minutes, you can turn it off, but this shit should not take you more than 10 minutes. There's a lot of things you can do with System Informer. You can access a lot of processes. For example, you can access the AMD services. You can access specifically because kernel driver mode is working on this PC. We're going to go to our most valuable one, which is CSRSS, which is the client server runtime process. This helps with like GUIs. It's the go. There's two versions of CSRSS. This is the high bytes, the private bytes. That's what. Let me expand this so you can see private bytes. So this is the low bytes, and this is high bytes. High bytes is utilized to find DLLs. Low bytes is used for exe. Well, I mean, I've never seen 3 CSRSSs ever in my life. Never. I've never seen that. There should only be 2. If there's 3, just still use the one with the highest and lowest bytes. Shut up, Jav. I don't care if you had 0. What to do if people disable CS? If you disable CSRSS, you're gonna fucking break your PC. Face it, AC disables the kernel driver. If you disable CSRSS, what do you mean? Okay, it won't work, but it's not gonna disable it. And if CSRSS doesn't work, there's other processes you can use. There's other processes you can use, and they all work the same way. So we want to look for EXEs. We're gonna not hide anything because we don't want to hide any information. We're going to extend the Unicode mapped image. Just click all the options because we want the most information possible. Minimum length will be 5. Enter. We have results. We got a filter. So we're going to filter for C slash. Let me make sure I answered that correctly. C slash. This is going to filter for everything in our C drive. Okay. Now we're going to do case insensitive .exe. We have just filtered for all the EXEs in the C drive that this process has captured. They get to the same place. I hope you know that. It just makes it one step instead of two. Like, for example, okay, here. The regex, the regular expression, will filter for files in all the drives. So I'll show you how to do that regularly. You put :/. That filters for all the EXEs in any drive. So now this searches all the EXEs in any drive. This search is all the EXEs in the D drive. I don't have a D drive on this PC. What if I want the F drive? See, the reason why I don't use the regular expressions is because, and I don't teach them, is because learning regular expressions is the equivalent of shooting yourself in the foot for 5 hours to get minimal reward. You will likely not understand a regular expression until you use it like 20 billion times, and at that point, you could have spent that time learning real screen sharing. So you have more control and you have the ability to use your brain if you just use a filter. So I want the C drive. Okay, that's easy. Filter for the C drive. Okay, I want I want D drive. I have the D drive. And that's my philosophy on it. If you want to learn regular expressions, it can be useful in some cases. It can be very useful in large processes where you're filtering for a very specific thing. And I do use regular expressions when I'm working with kernel dumps and things like that, because regular expressions are meant to match patterns rather than strings. So if you identify a pattern in a bypass, that's where a regular expression is good. We're not necessarily looking for any bypass right now. We're just looking to filter out to get the information we want. So that in that case, that's EXEs. So we're going to go with the C drive because it will be faster, because I only have a C drive here. So I'm going to press enter. And then I'm going to press contains again. I'm just going to filter for EXE. I'm going to press copy, right click, copy the result. And I'll show you why. Because that's a very important detail. Fucking class assignments. Okay. The detail here is when I paste this into here, I get only the paths. See? Only the paths. When I copy regularly, I'm going to get the memory addresses. Now, because saving it, I believe you'll get the memory addresses too. So I copy it because it gives me more control over what I'm doing. Yes, so path parser works either way, but when you start dealing with large volumes of files, you have to understand every single time it cuts out like this portion, this takes time. Stop flooding my chat. I'm going to time you out. Stop flooding my chat. Okay. So when you start working with large volumes of files, as much time as it takes to filter this out, you're going to start adding on a bunch of times. Shit's going to be slower and it's going to be annoying. That's why I just prefer to make things easier for myself. If you do it this way, I believe it's only going to make it slower by maybe like a minute when you're dealing with large volumes of files. But still, I'm impatient. I will take the extra 5 seconds instead to copy the results and paste it. That's my philosophy. Okay. I went over how to process files that are like this. So I'm not going to go over it again for the sake of time. you will do the same process using search everything. So that is how that works. Okay. We're going to move back to the guide. So this is a regular expression, so we can experiment with this one right here. So let's read. This regex right here displays other disks than the C disk in Explorer. So if I go to my Explorer process and I decide to dump it for whatever reason, so I'm dumping the Explorer process. And then I go to the regular expression, case insensitive, and I paste this in. I should not get any results that pertain to a file. See? Because I don't have a D drive. I don't have a D drive here. So because I don't have this D drive here, all of this is useless, and it's just weird strings that show up. So it's very it's not valuable if they don't have a D drive. But let's try to play around with this expression. Okay. So you can see here this flag here. I'll do it here. So this exclamation mark and this question mark are excluding the C drive here. So for example, if their D drive is a very small, let's say USB stick that doesn't have any executables on it. Let's say there isn't valuable information you believe you can find there. Let's go ahead and we're going to filter away from that because we don't want that. So now this theoretically is going to be everything but the D drive. So let's confirm. So that's correct. Also, this is not how I actually screen share. I screen share a lot differently. I see y'all talking about that. I've sent videos. I screen share very spastic, very different from ShareLock. That's just because I have like a lot of ADHD. But it's like, yeah, everyone has different styles. So you see here, yeah. So I just changed the C to a D drive, and then now I've excluded the D drive, and that has made my search faster. Bro, I don't. Someone gift me Nitro and I'll do that. But bro, I'm not spending $10 on Nitro. That's a scam and a half. Bro, you can see the 30. You can see it fine. No one has to gift it. You can see it fine. I have a server that sells monthly. Bro, it literally is fine. Stop complaining. Okay. So I don't know. Just get Vencord, bro. I'm not installing the bloat. There is so much shit I'm not installing. This is a school laptop that I'm not installing. Well, it's my laptop, but I use it for school, so I'm not installing all this bullshit. So, okay. This text file I actually didn't check, but let's see. Yeah, so that content's no longer available. Okay, we're gonna move on. I explained how this works. So you download everything. Okay. If this video is still up, it might be a useful resource. Video is still up. This uses an old version. So before we had Spoken's tools, we had another version of checking signatures and files. But now we have Spoken's tools. So just follow the same principles, and that video has everything. It wasn't a script. No, that was before the script. We used something on fucking GitHub from 2015, I think. Let's see. It just downloaded to my PC. It was called this. Yeah, it was called this. You can see in the video. So, okay, look. We're going to cover deleted items. We're going to cover Echo Journal tool. Let me grab that really quick because that link expired. Echo is. Give me a sec to find the journal tool. I found that journal tool. Okay. So the Echo Journal tool, I'll put the link down. Yeah. So the Echo Journal tool is a very simplified version of the US Journal. So let me open up Paint so you understand this, because I want you guys to graduate from using this, because in my opinion, Echo Journal tool is ass when you start getting into real screen sharing, but it's a good way to teach. So Echo Journal tool is like here, it's at this line, bro, and then using like an actual journal parser is like here, and then this distance is like 5 light years. So 5 light years. And I'm going to demonstrate why. And for those of you that use journal trace is like here. So this distance, I will say, is like 4.1 light years. Light years. Okay. I'm just explaining. The graph is not to scale. All the way on the right is like Velociraptor MFTE command. So Echo Journal tool is limited to these 1, 2, 3, 6 flags, okay? So because Echo Journal tool is limited to these 6 flags, you have the deleted flag, you have the created flag, the renamed from, renamed to, closed data change. MFTE command supports all journal flags. Velociraptor supports all journal flags. Journal trace only supports, I think, around like 15. It doesn't support all of them, but it supports most. I don't know how to Velociraptor. Yeah. Oh, I actually have a video on Velociraptor on my channel. Let's here. Okay, let's view. Let's customize. Let's go to my content. I have a video on Velociraptor, so I can put that here. Well, we're on the topic of it. Wait, did I get rid of it? There. I got it. So this is not my video. I'll make that extremely clear. I stole that from Sherlock because I thought he was going to delete it because he started hating Velociraptor. But it's not my video, but I have it saved on my channel. Yeah, he disabled all of his accounts. That's why a lot of the stuff. So, if everyone wants to hit the block button on Jav, I think everyone will be happier. Anyway, this is important that we understand the Echo Journal tool because it's very simple and it's an easy way to learn. So if you do C, so by using the search feature, we can search for the prefetch directory. So let's go to our prefetch directory. Okay, now that we've navigated to our prefetch directory, let's say, let's say we want to see if a prefetch file, when they were created. So we can use this as a really strange way as seeing when a file was ran. Like, it's really strange. Like, when a file was originally ran. So if a file has been ran like 100 times, we know prefetch only captures the last 7 times. However, using this created flag, we can see when the file was first ever ran on the system, which can be useful for whatever reason. I don't know. Okay, now we can see if something was deleted. So as you can see, All these prefetch files deleted. Yes. And then data changed. Okay, but all these flags apply to any other file. So for example, I think a user deleted an exe. So I'm going to type .exe. I'm going to click deleted. These are all the deleted exes. So a very important distinction to make is these files right here, because they do not contain a file path like this one does. Like, see, this one has a file path, this one doesn't. So because it doesn't have a file path, that means the user did not delete it. It means the system deleted it. That makes sense? And by system, I mean the Windows operating system. It is possible, and I know it's possible because my laptop is a commercial laptop, so it has a lot of cool features, like being able to no Jav. So it has cool features to be able to have programs delete stuff for me, like an actually good version of CC Cleaner. So I performed a clean earlier today because I wanted to get rid of bullshit off my PC. So when I go to the prefetch file, see, when I go to the prefetch, it will say the user deleted them. But obviously, I did not go in and delete them, but it's because the system did not delete them, so it demonstrates a path. Do we understand the difference between system, program, user? Let me give someone a roll. Okay. If you leave the folder, though, it'll still show the. But yeah, I believe so. This only applies to Echo Journal Tool. Every other journal tool is going to show just that it was deleted with the path. So this only applies to Echo Journal Tool. And if you use an Echo, like if you use the scanner, then it will also have that same logic applied, which is very useful information, in my opinion. Do we understand Journal Tool? The Echo one specifically. Is this just like Oceans? I don't know anything about Oceans. I would not use a built-in journal tool because you are missing out on information because it can only store so much information. I would rather use one that's hosted on the PC so you have more direct access to information. Okay, closing this. We're moving on. So I'll quickly go through the images. See, he searched up .pf, deleted, saw deleted files, .exe, deleted, saw deleted exes. This you can find in the public Red Lotus guide, our list of macro extensions. So if macros are a concern, these are all the macro extensions. Okay. FAT32 explanations. I don't have a FAT32 drive, so I realized I can't really explain this by using demonstration, but we do have a video on FAT32, which I will find right now. Okay. So here is our video on FAT32. That's not Requiems. It's here. I'm gonna put. So I made this webinar archive channel earlier today. So I'm gonna just start. A lot of the content that I go over, but I can't necessarily demonstrate because of whatever reason. I'm gonna put in webinar archive plus all of the webinar recordings. I'm gonna put in there. The perfect FAT32 bypass is detected in that. I don't understand either of their obsessions with FAT32. This mini SS PowerShell script doesn't exist anymore. It's useless, and even if it did exist, it doesn't work. Okay. There's more information on WinPrefetchView here. It's not really something we need to go over because I went over it. We have Task Scheduler. We can go over task scheduler, but let's go over services since that's essential and we need to get that done. So suspended services and threads. So PC optimizers, FPS boosters, custom operating systems stop useful services that are important for screen sharing. Here's the list of them. Find this in the public guide. So there's an important distinction that you want to make. If the activities cache right here, if the activities cache is disabled, but the service known as diagtrack is also disabled, then that is not bannable. But if the service diagtrack is enabled and activity cache is disabled, then that is bannable. Does that make sense? The reason being is that diagtrack and activities cache are part of the same process. So when you set up Windows, for example, when I set up this laptop, it asked me a bunch of questions. Can we track you? Can we send your data to Microsoft? No, 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 no. So by clicking all that, it disables the diagtrack service, which in turn disables the activities cache as well, because they're very closely connected. However, if I pressed, yes, send all my data to Microsoft, whatever, and then the activities cache was disabled, that means I would have had to manually disable it. Okay. Sometimes users only suspend threads of a service. I'll demonstrate what that is. So, for example, very important service would be the DPS service. So we're going to filter that in System Informer. Perfect. Right here is the DPS service. You can obviously see, where the fuck did my shoe? There's so many problems with the optimizers with the DPS tokens disabled. Yeah, so if the tokens are disabled, if the threads are disabled, like that's no good. So tokens, see? Normally all of these should be on. I have not fucked with my PC in any way, so anything you see on my PC is likely standard to be on any other PC. Yeah, the first one is always off. That's what I mean, because I've not fucked with anything on this PC yet. And I think if I open up a sandbox on my system, I will get the same results through my sandbox. Let's see. But my laptop's good. It won't lag, but I actually don't want to risk it though. Bro, it's just because I have Windows Pro that I can do shit like that. Okay. So, now threads. All of these threads should be working out like normal, and they should not be disabled. So you can terminate them. You don't want to do that. I would not recommend, even if you're just testing these detections yourself, don't fuck with services. Don't fuck with threads, because Windows is shit, and you will fuck with it, and it will never turn back on, because that happened to me. I literally bricked my kernel doing that on my old PC. I have no idea if the traces come back, but if I don't believe that's how that works, but I have no idea. The thing that would make it obvious if someone disabled and re-enabled a thread is that you can only really do it through System Informer. So if someone launches System Informer before you connect to the PC and it's in boot, then you just ban them for that and you don't worry about it. Because System Informer gives you so much control over services, which is the purpose of it. But that control can be used to do malicious things. For example, I can load DLLs through processes like the CSRSS process by going to the handles. Wait, I forgot how to do this because I haven't done this in a long time. Is it threads? What is being sent here? Let me click around to see. I think it is the handles. Or maybe it's the memory. Oh no, okay, it's the modules tab. It's the modules tab. So the modules tab, I'm able to load a DLL. So that is how powerful System Informer is, and that's why if it's ran beforehand, it's just no good. Okay. Do you have any questions about the usage of System Informer and services and how that all works? Do you need to know how to check if a service is enabled, or do we all know how to do that? I just asked, does anyone need help with turning services on? I'm not turning services on. I'm saying checking to make sure services are turned on, make sure threads are enabled. Does anyone need me to just quickly overview that one more time? Because it is a bit complicated when you start working with System Informer and all that, because it's overwhelming. Okay, seems good. Okay, guys. Let's just keep going through. So we're going to circle back to a more advanced application to search everything. I demonstrated the basics, obviously. I'm going to uninstall System Informer, so allow me to do that. Okay. So by using search everything, I'm going to open this again. We have all these objects, or we have all this stuff here, and we're going to go more into filters. So what you can do is you can right click here and you can add more flags. So you can get the run count. I'm just going to show you guys a bunch of tricks with this so you know how to use it. You can get attributes. You can literally anything here. I will say the date, run, and all this stuff, I would not use it as proof of execution, but rather as an indicator that you should confirm with something more reliable, because search everything is not very reliable when it comes to that stuff, but it's just good to have extra information. Extension. Yeah, but it's not always reliable. All this stuff. You can use all this stuff. So if we go to our search, this is everything. This means we're searching all files. Let's say for whatever reason, we just want to search for documents. Okay. So we got documents, audio, picture, everything. Okay. That's all cool, right? Now, the advanced search is what this guide kind of covers next. So we can actually use regular expressions and search everything. Why is this important? Because if we have, stop spamming GIFs in the chat. Are you watching the webinar or are you going through DMs to make GIFs? I'm going to ban you here again and you're all getting unbanned. Okay, so you can use regular expressions to find Unicode files. So, oops, I don't want to go wherever I just clicked. So, right here, you see the regex is a filter type. So, we can actually find that in the advanced search. Let's see. Match this to a regular expression. So if we enter our regular expression here, so this portion is our regular expression. And all this advanced search does is create a GUI for like what you type in. So I'll press OK. So there we go. So all it does is it pastes the regex colon in and then puts our flag. But this regular expression right here, I'll allow you guys all to try this, can be used to find Unicode files that are on disk. So that's for Unicode files that are on disk. That's very important. Okay, so now what what we're going to do is we're going to do something that is very important to find files that are ran with modified extensions. Wouldn't there be a million Minecraft? Yes, so there would be a million Minecraft resource packs because they use Unicode. That is exactly right. That's literally normally what shows up. Very rarely are you going to find someone actually just have a Unicode cheat just on disk, but it's possible, and it's important that you know how to access that because a lot of forensic tools are not going to support Unicode, which is why bypassers use them. I hope that makes sense. Like, bypassers use Unicode because forensic tools will just skip over them because it provides an error. Don't people put cheats into resource packs? Yeah, but you can't put, like, you can, but it would still show up as like logged. The location of the cheat like isn't gonna matter because it's still gonna show up as logged as like executed. So we're gonna use a very important thing which helps with finding files that have modified extensions. So for those of you that don't know, wait for the terminal load. For those of you that don't know, if you have a file that is cheat.exe and you want this file to be ran as a PDF, all you have to do is you rename it to cheat.pdf. Okay. Now, all you have to do to launch this cheat is instead of double clicking it, is you just type cheat.pdf in the correct directory and you launch it like a command line execution, and it will launch the cheat with no problems. So that's an issue because it kind of puts, it's not hard to detect, but it's definitely something that is complicated to detect. So using it does log everywhere, but to find files that are renamed executables, or in this case, renamed binary files, what we can do is we can use the advanced search feature of search everything and under the none of these words. So we don't want any results that are going to have .exe and we don't want .dll. Now what we want to do is we want to run this. The program cannot be run in DOS mode. Every binary file that is a cheat is going to have this header. This is a header, or this is within the header. It is a string within the header that simply is instructions to the computer. It's there all the time. I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure it's just instructions to the computer, but it will always be there. Can they remove it? No. It would be very difficult to remove if you can. Almost like they would have to develop their own cheat. It is very useless to explain why it's there, but it is there. And you should know every exe file has it. So I believe if someone develops their own cheat, which is a lot harder than it sounds, because I've done a lot of stuff like development and like reverse engineering, that shit takes days, weeks. So unless someone is smart enough to do that, then they're not going to be able to remove this. So we're going to press OK. And then as everything in search everything, it's going to paste strings like this. Because all the advanced search does is it just types the flags into the search bar. Now, depending on how many files you're searching for, this will take a long time. So instead of being a monkey, you're going to do something else in the meantime. It genuinely might take days. So that's why what you should do is we're going to kind of cut down on the volume of things it's searching. So as I discussed earlier, when we can filter for size. So let's narrow it down to all the objects on the PC that are 1 megabyte to 25 megabytes. Oops, 25. So that's about 12,000 objects. Now, there's more I can do. Let's say there's a specific directory that I don't want, or that I want to filter for. So let's say the C/Windows/ or let's try the users directory. So we really only want to filter in the users directory. And because of that, we've now narrowed it down to 1,155 files. Now we're going to paste our content, which is no exe, no DLL, and that the program cannot be ran in DOS mode. That is going to significantly speed up how fast it works. Way faster than if we were to filter 12,000 objects, because we've narrowed it down to 1,000. It's still going to take time, and what you can do, because this window will be occupied, press File. Here, it won't. See, it froze. Sometimes that happens. So see, it's going to kind of crash out. So it's not very reliable, but it is something that you can do. Using this information, you can find individual files, put them into a hex editor, and you will see the string of the program can't be ran in DOS mode, and that will tell you it's a binary file. Moving on. While you search that, you can create a new search window. So now I have two search windows. So I can put my fuck ass string in here, and then I can, type the information. But still, this is a very demanding task. I would not do this on a low-end PC. It takes a lot of resources. Everyone understand that? Okay, we have some time. So I'm going to go over a USB thing that I had posted within the Red Lotus server. I believe I only posted it for the digital forensics, but I'm going to share it here. Okay. So this is the USB. Okay, I don't know what you're posting, Jav, but remember, this is a partner server. Remember, we have people from partner servers here, so can we please act professionally in some way? Okay, so the USB has a registry key that stores information related to USBs. It's the USB store key, and you can find that at this Hive. I'm going to post this within the webinar archive channel. Can you guys all make sure you see that channel and you acknowledge that I am putting a lot of these resources in here so that you don't ask me later, where can I find these? Okay, I want to make sure. Okay. So you can view this content while I'm going through it, or you can view it after, or you don't have to view it at all, but it's there for you. So USB stores the first pieces of evidence common in forensics analysis, including USB devices and incidents. So we can get information like model, version name, Windows assigned serial number, last connected, all that great stuff. So using Registry Explorer, you can get more information. So when we click on one of the hives, which would be this right here, in the red box, we get the device description. So disk drive, okay. We get hardware ID, so that's good. So for example, if a user claims I'm using a Logitech mouse, but it has no built-in macro, so don't even worry about that. You can actually confirm if they're telling the truth through the hardware ID, because you can put the hardware ID into Google and it will tell you what that model is. Service. So service is just what services on Windows it needs to operate. So it would be the disk service, because this is a disk drive. Friendly name. The friendly name is going to be the name that appears when you so if I go to devices, right? I go to device. Oops, that's the device manager. So if I just go to devices, like the regular settings, I have Model 02 Pro and the Wooting, right? So that's the friendly device name. That's what that information is pulled from. Okay. Properties, so we can get additional information by scrolling through all this. This is 25 pages of just USB stuff that I'm not gonna cover in full, because this information is normally I don't give it to the Academy people, but I put it here so you guys can read this on your own time. But that's just kind of an overview. Is it covers a lot of stuff, including some event logs, which have to do with virtual drives and all that stuff. So you guys have access to this information. Please use it. Please don't ask me questions that are easily answered. It's my biggest pet peeve. It's been an hour. That's everything I wanted to cover and a little bit more. So I'm going to end the screen share. I'm going to answer questions now. I want to ask you don't have to record this. You can stop recording and upload to like Mediafire and then send it to me and I'll put it